Today's scripture reading comes from John 21, 1 through 14. Jesus and the miraculous catch of fish. Afterward, Jesus appeared again to his disciples by the Sea of Galilee. It happened this way. Simon Peter, Thomas, also known as Didymus, Nathanael from Cana in Galilee, and the sons of Zebedee, and two other disciples were together. "I'm going out to fish," Simon Peter told them. And they said, "We'll go with you." So they went out and got into the boat, but that night they caught nothing. Early in the morning, Jesus stood on the shore, but the disciples did not realize that it was Jesus. He called out to them, "Friends, haven't you any fish?" "No," they answered. He said, "Throw your net to the right side of the boat, and you will find some." When they did, they were unable to haul the net in because of the large number of fish. Then the disciples whom Jesus loved said to Peter, "It is the Lord." As soon as Simon Peter heard him say, "It is the Lord," he wrapped his outer garment around him, for he had taken it off, and jumped into the water. The other disciples followed in the boat, towing the net full of fish, for they were not far from shore, about 100 yards. When they landed, they saw a fire burning with coals, and there was fish on it, and some bread. Jesus said to them, "Bring some of the fish you have caught." So Simon Peter climbed back into the boat and dragged the net ashore. It was full of large fish, 153. But even with so many, the net was not torn. Jesus said to them, "Come and have breakfast." None of the disciples dared ask him, "Who are you?" They knew that it was the Lord. Jesus came, took the bread, and gave it to them, and did the same with the fish. This was now the third time Jesus appeared to his disciples after he was raised from the dead. The word of the Lord.
So our speaker today is Brian Frey. He is a pastor of Union Church in Peoria, Arizona. He is a dad to two girls and a husband to an awesome woman. Brian was my pastor for several years here in San Diego, and what I know of him is that he is loving and he is kind. Brian has taught me a lot about who Jesus is and a lot about what I believe about myself. So, welcome, Brian.
Thanks, my friend. Miss you. Well, I am excited and humbled to be with you this morning. What's up, upperclassmen? You're like, wow, you're a nerd. Yep. Let's just get that out of the way right now. It's true. I went to Point Loma. I'm alumni. Had a great time. And yeah, woo, it's great. Yeah. But one of the stories I typically tell when there's a whole lot of people that I don't know is the one I'm about to tell you. So I'm going to start with this morning. I played basketball here at Point Loma. Don't get excited. It's just a game. You just put a round thing in a hoop, and it's not a big deal. But I loved it. Played basketball here. It was great. Got to my senior year. Any seniors out here? Yeah. Nice job, seniors. Way to go. You're still here, even after all your chapels. Way to go. You're like, I have to be here. Yeah, good point. So, senior year. You know how your senior year, if you were a senior right now, you'd know this. If you're not, just look forward to it. You feel like you are at the top of the food chain. Like you got some stuff figured out, right? You're like, yeah, I mean, it's pretty good right here. I was feeling that way about basketball and about my senior year, and for playing hoop, the biggest event of the year really is homecoming. Homecoming, there's more people at the game, the crowds are rowdy, it's phenomenal. We play a team that usually we can beat, that's great too. It's just really fun. If you play basketball, homecoming's the best. And so, game is about to start. Well, little backstory, we had this tradition that my years at Loma ruined for all of us. And the tradition was this. The first point that we made, that Point Loma made, everybody had brought toilet paper. And so once the first point that the home team makes, our team makes, goes in the basket, everybody just chucks toilet paper onto the floor. It was super fun, right? It was amazing. It was great. Been years and years of tradition. Well, some of my friends were bored with that amazing tradition. Some of you are like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, we were bored with it. So what do you think we did? We were trying to figure out how to sneak stuff in, like bouncy balls and giant fish that you buy at the market. Yeah, one of my best friends had it all planned out. So the game begins, the ball, there's this tip-off where two of the tallest people, obviously not me, try and tip the ball to your own team, and that's how the game starts. So the tip comes straight to me. I get the ball. I drive to the basket, meaning I dribble the ball and get as close to the basket as I can, and I shoot it. I get fouled. And I'm standing now at the free throw line. Free throw, meaning they call it free throw because you're supposed to make it and there's no defense and it's easy. I'm standing now at the free throw line thinking, I'm going to get hit in the head with a fish. I'm going to get hit in the head with a fish. If I'm lucky, it'll just be a giant bouncy ball. But my friend Harry's going to hit me in the head with a fish. Dribbling the ball is quiet. Just shh. Fish. And all you hear, see, typically when you shoot free throws, you hear like the net swishing, or you hear the ball hitting the rim and you hear a clang. Yeah, all you could hear was a ball still bouncing because I had airballed it. Homecoming, packed house, everybody's got their stuff ready to throw. Little Brian, ding, ding, ding. Now it's dead quiet. Everybody doesn't know what to do because it's like we're trying to cheer for this person who just airballed the free throw and we don't want to be mean, so what do? It's dead quiet. And all you hear is, it felt like 30 seconds. It was probably like 2 seconds. Airball, yeah, Frey, yeah. Yeah, that was my friend Harry. Yeah, it's cool. And then everybody just lost it. Woo! So that was neat. Living the dream, senior year. I'm like, ref, give me the ball. Give me the ball back. Let's move on from this moment. I get the ball. I make the second shot. Everybody throws their stuff. The fish made it onto the floor, and that's why we can't throw toilet paper anymore. I tell you that story because I didn't have it all together, and honestly, I don't have it all together today either. I tell you that story because I have figuratively and literally, I just told you the story, airballed a whole lot in my life. I failed at a whole lot. I failed at following Jesus a whole lot. I'm full of insecurity even today. After I'm done, I'm going to care about what you think, and I shouldn't. I'm still airballing a whole lot. And when I was in college, I struggled. I was here. I struggled. I struggled with insecurity. I struggled with dating relationships. I was using the attention of those that I deemed attractive to try and fill a hole that existed in my life. Am I lovable? Do I matter? Does anybody really see me? And honestly, I struggled with chapels. I struggled with telling the truth. I struggled with just being with me, and I struggled with coming to chapels. Can I get an amen? I struggled with coming to chapels, and I even struggled with the people who loved coming to chapels because I had deep down in my gut this assumption that God was angry, God was mad, God was disappointed, and I was not going to be able to make up for all the air balls that I had shot. And so I sat towards the back, frustrated. Frustrated at myself, frustrated at God, and frustrated at the people who looked like they had it figured out. Most of that was quiet and eternal and internal, but man, it was real. And what I love about the passage that we're looking at today is one of the main characters in it is Peter. Now, just in case there's a few of you who don't know who Peter is, I really like Peter. Do you? I really like that good old Pete was a natural-born leader. I really like that about Peter. I like that he was strong. I like that he was a fighter. I like that he was even the first to talk and most often put his foot in his mouth after. I really like it. I really like Peter because he shot a lot of air balls. I love that about Peter. I love that he failed a lot, that he messed up a lot. I love that about Peter. I mean, just briefly in John 13, well, before John 13, Jesus was trying to help the disciples understand that he was a suffering, bleeding, dying kind of Messiah, that he was the Messiah who wasn't going to win no matter what. He was the Messiah. Yep, that was a song reference. He was the Messiah who was going to suffer, bleed, and die on a cross for all of us. And Peter was like, because I know what happens to the followers of the Messiahs who suffer, bleed, and die. They're probably going to have to do that too. So no, we win no matter what, Jesus. And he's like, no, I rebuke that, Jesus. That's what's going down here. We're going to take over Rome. We're going to be the best of the best. This is going to be awesome. We're never going to airball again. This is going to be great. And Jesus responded to Peter by calling him Satan. He said, get behind me, Peter, Satan. You have the things in mind of men and not the things of God. Now, I don't know about you, but I would rather have been cussed out by Jesus, the Son of God, than be called Satan. I think it's probably the lowest anyone can go. That was a big old air ball for Peter, right? Huge air ball. Then fast forward a little bit to John 13. This is just before Jesus was arrested. He's having his last meal with his disciples, and he's like, some of you guys are going to run, and you're going to disown me. And Peter's like, nuh-uh, not me, Jesus. I'm staying. I will never disown you. Jesus turns to Peter and says, not only will you disown me, it will be tonight before dawn, and you're going to do it 3 times. And Peter, being Peter, just like me, because when we make promises to God, we keep hiding anyways, and he doubles down on his promise. Yeah, he doubles down. He's like, whoa, no way, Jesus. Not only will I not disown you, I will die for you. I'm going to die for you, Jesus. That's what's going to happen. I'm not going to even disown you. And Jesus is like, Jesus ever done that to you? He does that to me all the time. I'm like, Jesus, I will. Yeah, and today's going to be woo. And yeah, I'll be here. Just do your thing. So Peter's doubled down. He's made promises. And he disowned Jesus. He disowned Jesus in this courtyard. Jesus got arrested, and Peter follows where they take Jesus to this house, to the high priest's house. And Peter's in the courtyard outside of the house, warming himself by a charcoal fire. And 3 different people come and ask Peter, hey, weren't you, I recognize you. Didn't you roll with that Jesus dude who's in there about to get strung up on a cross? No, I don't know the man. 3 times. 3 epic air balls. 3 failures. And even with all of Peter's good intentions, And now we're here, finally, to John 21. Jesus has died on the cross, he's risen, and Peter has even seen him twice before this story that we're getting into today. He's seen Jesus resurrected, but he's still feeling his failure, I think. He's uncertain about his standing with Jesus, wouldn't you be? He hasn't had that one-on-one conversation with Jesus yet. He's still got the air ball in the back of his mind, and he's wondering, am I still in the game? Can I still take some shots? I mean, it's amazing. Jesus is raised from the dead. That's no small thing, right? And yet it's the uncertainty. And really, I think Peter's miserable. And he's bored. And he's not sure if he can keep doing what he was doing with Jesus. So he goes back to the only thing that he knows how to do other than following Jesus, and that's fishing. And that's where we pick up this story. Peter and his buddies, he's dragged some of his buddies because he's just a natural leader. He's like, man, guys, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's happening. I'm just going to go back to what I know. Let's go fish tonight. So some of his friends go, all right, let's go fishing. So they go fishing. They fish all night long, and they don't catch anything. Don't you love it when even when you're shooting air balls everywhere, you go to the one thing that you think you can do, and it's still an air ball? Oh, this is what's going on with Peter. He's even airballing at the stuff that he thought he could do with his eyes closed in his sleep. So it's morning now, dawn hits. He hasn't caught anything. They're tired, they're sweaty, they're hungry. And they notice a stranger on the beach. And the stranger says this is John 21, verse 5. He called out to them, friends, haven't you caught any fish? No, they answered. He said, throw your net on the right side of the boat and you'll find some. When they did, they were unable to haul the net in because of all the large number of fish. Then the disciple whom Jesus loved said to Peter, it is the Lord. As soon as Simon Peter heard him say, it's the Lord, notice Peter's not even the one to recognize Jesus, just like me. He wrapped his outer garment around him, for he had taken it off. Now, it was really hot. The nets were made with lead there were little lead weights on the nets to hold them down in the water to catch fish. So it's a lot of work to pull the net in to throw it on the other side. This is like 25 minutes of work to get it in and to put it out. So now Peter, since he was hot, he had taken it off. He puts it back on and he jumps into the water. Verse 8, the other disciples followed in the boat, towing the net full of fish, for they were not far from the shore, about 100 yards. Now picture this. Peter is frustrated, tired, miserable, not knowing what his standing is with Jesus. He's gone back to fishing. He can't even catch some stupid fish. Stranger shows up, throw it on the other side. John realizes that it's Jesus. And Peter goes, what? Puts his robe back on, which is not typically what you do when you go swimming. Makes it harder to swim, right? Puts it back on, but I think the reason he puts it back on is because, man, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've betrayed Jesus. I don't want to roll up on the beach naked in front of him. That's another shaming event. I'm not going to airball this one. So put the robe back on, swims 100 yards like Forrest Gump, just leaves the boat, leaves the fish. Lieutenant Dan just rolls up to shore. Woo! Jesus, woo! 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 It's kind of heavy, this robe. Woo! And this is what he finds. Verse 9, when they landed, they saw a fire of burning coals there with fish on it and some bread. Now, remember when I just mentioned, well, before I get to that, y'all know you have 5 senses, right? Anybody know what they are? Taste, sight, smell, hearing, touch. 5 senses. Y'all know what the one is. I communicate for a living. Woo-ha! Airball! What the one is that is most connected to your memory? Smell. Yes, smell. I mean, I was trying to think of stories like for today, and I couldn't think of any until I got into town and the salt air, and all of a sudden I started remembering all of these things. There are moments in my life where whenever I smell, for some reason, Doritos and sweaty feet, I'm back in my dorm room. Yeah, I'm back in my dorm room. I had this moment the other day. I'm back in my dorm room. This triggered this memory of me listening to one of my roommates tell me that, hey guys, check this out. It's so cool. When you skydive, as you're falling, the air is going past your body so fast you don't even have to breathe just because it just goes straight into your lungs. This really happened. And I'm there, man. I'm smelling Doritos and sweaty feet, and I'm like there with my roommate. My other roommate's standing there, and he's like, oh, sweet, look, I'm breathing. We all need an education. So if that was news to you, don't feel bad. It's okay. You're not alone. But I'm right there. I smell, when I smell Doritos and chlorine, I'm out hot tubbing again. And I don't know why I don't feel like I ate that many Doritos, but somehow they're always connected to my college memories. I guess I ate a lot of Doritos. But it's smell. It's smell. When I smell really strong cleaning bleach, I'm back in the hospital watching my wife get chemo. There's these smells, right? That charcoal fire that was just mentioned is a curious piece of information. Theologian and writer and scholar N.T. Wright connects this charcoal coal fire that Jesus has made for Peter with the same kind of charcoal fire when he betrayed him in the courtyard. So Peter rolls up on the beach, excited and hopeful to see Jesus, and what does he get? And he's right back in the courtyard. He's right back in his moment of greatest failure. But here is what you gotta hear today. The reason that Jesus makes that specific kind of fire to take Peter back to this moment of greatest failure is so that in that moment of greatest failure, Peter will experience the greatest amount of grace and love he ever has in his whole life. That now that failure would somehow, by the grace and mercy of God, be transformed into the greatest memory of love and mercy. That our failures now do not define us. That our airballs are not who we are, but that God's love and God's grace through Jesus himself is our identity, is our hope, are our dreams, is everything that we have been looking for. What if that could happen for you? Some of you come in and you get into worship spaces, and I know because it's me, and all you can think about are your failures and your shortcomings and the shame of that. What if Jesus is making that fire for you, not for you to stay stuck there, but that you would receive a grace and a love that you have never known before? That it would not end there, but that's where it begins. That's where your story begins. That's where hope is born. Jesus went to a cross for you and for me. That you and I would be invited into a relationship with the creator of all things. You know what happens next? This is crazy. Jesus turns to Peter, just letting Peter linger in that smell and all of the failure and all the shame. And Jesus' words to Peter are what? Come and have breakfast. If you can't hear good news in that, where are you? Come and have breakfast. There's no, I told you, Peter. You should have known better, Peter. You blew it again, Peter. Seriously, you've been practicing a long time. You shot another air ball, Peter. You humiliated all of us, Peter. Where were you when I needed you most, Peter? We don't hear any of that. Jesus takes him to that moment of failure, and it's not, how dare you, how could you? It's, come and have breakfast. What's mine, Peter, is yours. I'm not done with you yet, Peter. It's not over yet, Peter. Sin does not get the last word in your life. Hopelessness does not get the last word in your life. Hurt, pain does not get the last word in your life. What if Jesus had the last word in your life? And what if that word, like it was for Peter's, come and have breakfast? What if every time you came to chapel, instead of it was, man, I just don't want to hear another I told you so? What if every time you came to chapel it was, man, Jesus is inviting me to eat? What if your assumptions about God and about how he's angry and about how he's just going to get you back for what you've done, and he's just saying, I told you, are all wrong, man. Woman, they're all wrong. He's the one. And actually, he's the one still serving you. Resurrected Jesus made breakfast for them, serving them, being the same Jesus that we see all throughout the Gospels. This is the one that you serve. This is the one that we hope to get to know. This is the one we've been waiting for. It's Jesus. And at any moment this year, maybe last year you had a whole lot of air balls, and the year got over and you're like, man, what just happened? Maybe over the summer, maybe you had a great year, but over the summer, you kind of went back to your old, I don't know. And you get here now and you're like, this is weird now. What if you heard from Jesus, come and have breakfast with me? It's the gospel, y'all. And I'm so glad I had it all wrong. Are you? It's Jesus. So God, I pray that this year, all of these upperclassmen would have moments in chapels, out of chapels, in the calf, on the beach, in dorm rooms, moments where they know that they're hearing, come and have breakfast. With friendships, with confession, with forgiveness, that they would hear you inviting and not shaming, not condemning, but inviting. Oh God, bless these students with the reality that you are the one who invites us to eat with you, commune with you, hang out with you. Oh God, bless these people that are yours. Amen. I'm going to be around. A few of the staff are going to be around if you want to be prayed for. You are dismissed.